So today I want to talk about Persona 3 Reload. I've played the other games in the series, but I never played Persona 3 due to it being on the PSP. However, I'm pretty sure it's given me brain damage. Let me explain. So Persona 3 came out in the darkest depths of 2006. That's a long time ago now, almost 20 years. I never played it at the time. I'm sure a lot of people didn't. But Persona 3 Reload came out, and I thought, what better time to get in? It's on all of the modern consoles. Jazzed up graphics, remake, remaster, whatever you want to call it. So I started playing Persona 3 Reload, and there's one thing I couldn't get past. The protagonist has a weird string around his neck. So, according to a save, for 45 hours of gameplay, and I still haven't finished, I've been looking at the string around the protagonist's neck and thinking, what is that? Is he a cowboy? Now, that's silly. I know that's silly. I don't genuinely I didn't genuinely believe he was a cowboy. But for the life of me, I couldn't work out why he had these strange strings around every outfit he wore. And then at some point, 45 hours into the game, I realized what it was. Those are headphones. This may seem like a simple thing to overlook, but, you know, when you rewind to 2006, I suddenly realized that, yeah, those little split earphones that you hung around your neck were popular. And yeah, we didn't really use earbuds. Like maybe they were coming in to fashion at that point. What it really hammered home for me was the fact that, you can remake a game and remaster it and jazz it up, but actually the themes and the meaning behind the game don't change. So, I'm playing this thinking it's 2024 kind of game, and of course not. It came out in 2006, and they're not going to remake key parts of the game, which are him listening to music and hence the banging soundtrack. But yeah, it's just strange how time passes and you forget the weird stuff that used to happen. So yeah, he's not a cowboy. But also, I want to take this opportunity to talk about Persona 3 Reload. My opinion on this game has changed to it's actually my favorite Persona game so far. I know that's unpopular because it doesn't have dungeons like 4 and 5 do, or it doesn't have, all the other changes that as the games progress. Um, but I actually quite like the way that it's all set in one tower. And this will be spoiler free, by the way. But yeah, it's all set like it's linear progression, and that's actually for me it's a good thing because I can progress as much in one sort of dungeon crawl as I want to, and I find the time they give you between full moons to actually be enjoyable. The way I like to play is, once a new segment starts and a new segment unlocks, I like to, you know, binge the dungeon as much as I can in 1 or 2 days, in-game days, and then I like to spend the rest of the time going and, planning out, okay, well, I'm going to visit this person, I'm going to spend time with this person, I'm going to pick up this day. I think the other dungeons in 5 especially leave a little bit of confusion in that, you think you're going to have time to do, if you do a bit of dungeon crawling one day, then during the day or the evening, and then spend the other part of the day trying to get things done, you end up missing out on important things you could get done because you think you have more time than you do, and blah blah blah. I just think that Persona 3 really does it well. Actually, for Persona 6, I would like them to bring back maybe not a single long tower as 3 is, but that more, you know, a little bit less hitting you with everything at once, where it's like, oh, you could do this. And in 5, especially, you've got mementos and you've got lots and lots and lots to do. And Persona 3 is really good at kind of delineating that. I mean, at the moment, I'm like 50 hours in, and I'm still nowhere near the end, and I've maxed out my character. So definitely has pacing issues if you play it like this. Persona 3 Reload has made me realize that one, time passes extremely fast, and strange dangly things around your chest are actually headphones. But also that progress, especially in the video game world, isn't necessarily you know good. Like just because time has passed doesn't mean that they've made better decisions. And I'm sure people would disagree and think that Persona 5 is great. I'm not a fan of like the jazz kind of nature of Persona 5. I prefer 4 and 3, and I especially like 4's rural setting. Just because a game is newer and flashier doesn't necessarily mean that at its heart it's a great game. I mean, but the great thing about Persona 3 is learning about Aegis and going to the beach and doing lots of cool side things. And I think that Persona 3 sets up the world, especially for a new player. It sets up how to play Persona and everything a lot better than 4 and 5. So, in fact, if you are a new player, I would jump in with 3, Persona 3 Reload, because it really does just explain everything with Kirijo, and it kind of does a really great job of explaining what this kind of persona concept is and why things are different. And suddenly you're in another world, and how that happened. Obviously I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a backstory there. 4 and 5 kind of miss that, especially 5. It kind of assumes you've already played the previous games, and I mean, it onboards you, right? And let's say it doesn't, but it's just very abstract unless you really know a lot about Jung psychology and things like that. Overall, I just really like Persona 3 Reload. I think it's a really great game that you should actually pick up. Especially if you've not played a Persona game, it's a great place to start. And it's also great to know that he's not a cowboy, right? You don't play as a cowboy, and that's not a weird cowboy tassel thing around his neck. That is earphones. That's a good one, which I should have realized sooner, because then when you go back to the menu, he's actually wearing the earphones, the headphones, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, so Persona 3 Reload gave me brain damage. Or maybe I already had brain damage and just made me realize I had brain damage. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on Persona 3 Reload down in the comments. Really interested to get a conversation going.